As the last baseball season of the 20th century began, the country and its national pastime were thriving as never before. In the 5 years since the crippling strike of 1994, the game had bounced back spectacularly. Insiders and casual fans alike felt they were watching some of the greatest players and some of the greatest plays the sport had ever seen. Yet just as the game seemed to have entered a new golden age, suspicions grew that many of the best players were using performance-enhancing drugs, that steroid-inflated home run records had replaced day-to-day heroics, that greed had trumped loyalty, that only money and success, not character, mattered. But at a time when America seemed most threatened, baseball provided a welcome distraction and offered the hope, at least for a few hours, that things could return to normal. At a time of ever-increasing offense, a handful of pitchers still managed to dominate. And a skinny singles hitter from the other side of the world electrified fans with his elegant mastery of the old game. And at a time when winning was all that mattered in America, baseball, with its failures and disappointments, reminded the nation that loss is often the best teacher. Through it all, the game continued to astonish, to rise above its own scandals, and to reflect in good times and bad the complicated country that had created it.
Well, Pedro Martinez had three places to get you out. It was the fastball, it was the changeup, and it was the curveball. They were all the best pitches of their kind in baseball at the time.
Pedro Martinez was not alone. Tom Glavine and Greg Maddux of the Braves would together win 660 games. Mariano Rivera of the New York Yankees would save nearly as many, becoming the most successful closer of all time. In the postseason, he had no equal. In 88 appearances, his ERA was an extraordinary 0.74. Randy Johnson of the Arizona Diamondbacks was the most intimidating left-handed pitcher ever, striking out nearly 5,000 batters in 22 seasons. Roger Clemens, a hard-throwing right-hander, was every bit as fierce as Johnson. For 13 years, he had been the exalted star of the Red Sox pitching staff, winning 20 games in 3 different seasons and regularly finishing among the league leaders in ERA and strikeouts.
There's a high drive, deep in the right center field to the big part of the ballpark. Number 71, and what a shot!
Barely 3 years after Mark McGwire had broken Roger Maris's 37-year-old record, Barry Bonds was the new single-season home run champion. And he wasn't finished. Number 72 came later that evening.
There's a high drive. Grissom back in center field. He's all the way back to the wall. Number 72. 72 and counting for Barry Bonds.
Then, on the last day of the season, in his first at-bat, he hit his 73rd.
A floater to Bonds, and he hits it high. Strong inning.
In Game 1, Schilling stifled Yankee bats. Randy Johnson was even more dominant in Game 2. In Game 4, the Diamondbacks were leading 3-1 in the bottom of the ninth. Young Kim, a 22-year-old relief pitcher from South Korea, faced Yankee first baseman Tino Martinez. In 9 at-bats in the series, he had had no hits. Kim had struck out the side in the 8th.
1 on, 2 out. Martinez.
Tino Martinez hits a ball right center field.
The game was now tied.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2
With 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th inning, Derek Jeter came to bat.
Jeter hits it into right. Back at the wall. Game over.
Just 20 hours later, they were back at Yankee Stadium for Game 5.
Brocious hits one into left. Back at the wall. The Yankees have tied it again. On 2-1. Into right field, base hit. Here comes Knobloch. The throw by Sanders. Play at the plate. Yankees win.
The Yankees had come from behind again. In Game 6, Randy Johnson came through again for Arizona, and they beat New York 15-2 in Phoenix. In Game 7, for the 3rd time, Curt Schilling started for Arizona. Roger Clemens again pitched for New York. Through 5 innings, neither pitcher let a runner past second base. In the 6th, Arizona broke through.
Finley floats one to center for a leadoff hit. Into left center field. Danny Batista delivers again. That ball's going to put Arizona on top. Going for 3rd. Out, but it's 1-0 Arizona.
The Yankees fought back in the 7th.
Runners at the corners, 1 out. Martinez with a base hit to right. The Yankees have tied it. Soriano into deep left field. At the wall, Yankees on top, 2-1.
Curt Schilling had been outstanding, but he was tired.
And Randy Johnson is coming in.
Randy Johnson, who had thrown 104 pitches the day before, came out to pitch in relief.
Randy Johnson in the game for the Diamondbacks. The 1-2 punch for Arizona, giving the Yankees all they can handle.
Johnson kept the Yankees from scoring again.
Into center field against Starkey. The bunt by Miller.
But in the bottom of the 9th, Arizona tied the game and then loaded the bases.
Season's over.
In 2002, Barry Bonds had another spectacular season and would be named the National League's most valuable player for the 5th time. And now, he was on his way to the World Series for the first time, eager to prove he could perform as well in the postseason as he did the rest of the year. The Giants would face the Anaheim Angels. Both teams had been their league's wild card, something that had never happened in a World Series before. With Bonds leading the team, the Giants took a 3-2 lead. Game 6 would be played in Anaheim.
Bonds has walked twice tonight, 26th time in the postseason. That is crushed. 15 out.
San Francisco starter Russ Ortiz pitched brilliantly, and the Giants took a 5-0 lead into the bottom of the 7th. In the Giants clubhouse, attendants iced champagne in preparation for a celebration.
Russ goes into his windup, and the pitch on the way to Gloss. Line drive, that's a base 3-2 pitch is belted to right field. Back on it goes Sanders. He can't get it. Pitch by Worrell. Drive hit into right field. That ball is gone, and they are within 1. Here's the 1-0 to Salmon. A drive into center field. Lofton can't get it. Base hit.
And at a certain point, the Angels' rally kept going.
Here comes Biggins.
I sat back in my chair and I stopped writing.
The Angels take the lead, 6-5.
The next night, the Angels became world champions for the first time in their 42-year history. Barry Bonds had made 30 trips to the plate, hit 4 home runs, and was walked 13 times, a World Series record. but it hadn't been enough.
Nixon into right center field. Did he get enough? Yes, he did. The Red Sox strike first. To the left side for Enrique Wilson. His throw sails into the seats, and that'll make it 3-0. Millar hits one to left field. That ball back into the corner, up and out. Home run Millar. And the Red Sox and their fans have to be thinking, finally. We have not seen the Yankees hit anything crisp so far here tonight against Pedro Martinez.
Martinez was masterful through 7 innings, and going into the bottom of the 8th, the Red Sox had a 5-2 lead. But all season long, Martinez had struggled after he had thrown more than 100 pitches.
Jeter flies into right, Nixon back. On the run, it's over his head. Jeter will dig for second and hold there with a double. The 2-2 into center field. Damon will play it on a hop. Jeter will come to the plate. It's a 2-run game.
Manager Grady Little went out to the mound. The Red Sox bullpen had been all but unhittable that year, and Martinez had already thrown 115 pitches. Little left Martinez in the game.
Ripped into the right field corner fair. Bernie Williams will dig. It's a ground rule double. It's second and third with 1 out here in the 8th.
A pitch swung on and looped to shallow center field. It is a base hit. 1 run scores Bernie. Here's Matsui. He scores. Both sides go. Boone to lead off.
His first at-bat of the game. There's a fly ball deep to left. It's on its way. There it goes. And the Yankees are going to the World Series.
Player.
Again in the air, down the left field line. Reaching into the stands and couldn't get it. And he's livid with a fan. We've seen this happen here before. That's awfully close to fan interference right there.
The offender was a lifelong Cubs fan named Steve Bartman.
If a Lou has to reach into the stands, it's fair game for the fans to catch the ball. That is very, very close.
When the 2004 season began, Boston and New York picked up right where they had left off. The Red Sox, now managed by Terry Francona, played as if their humiliating loss of 2003 had never happened. They were scrappy, wore their hair long, and goofed around in the dugout.
What is this? I don't know. That is unbelievable is what it is.
What you see is what you get, said first baseman and team ringleader Kevin Millar. The heart of the team was Boston's designated hitter, David Ortiz, known to everyone in Red Sox Nation as Big Papi.
Here was a Red Sox player who really did instill fear in the heart of the Yankees. He represented the sea change that, look, we don't fear you, we know we're better than you, and we're going to beat you.
That one's not coming back anytime soon.
Led by the dominant pitching of Curt Schilling, Boston again faced the Yankees in the American League Championship Series.
7th strikeout for Curt Schilling.
But in Game 1, Schilling, hobbled by an injury to his ankle, lasted only 3 innings, the shortest postseason outing of his career. No one knew whether he would be able to pitch again in the series. New York took Game 2 as well, 3-1. Game 3 in Boston was a blowout. Yankee hitters hammered one Red Sox pitcher after another. The final score was 19-8. The New York Yankees were just 1 win away from going to the World Series for the 7th time in 9 years. No team in baseball history had ever come from 3 games behind to win a best-of-7 series. Derek Lowe pitched for Boston in Game 4. Orlando Hernandez was on the mound for New York. It was a back-and-forth game.
A-Rod goes into left center field. Back at the wall. Alex Rodriguez has hit one over the monster to make it 2-0 New York. Ortiz into right center, and the Red Sox have taken the lead in Game 4. Timlin's thrown quite a few pitches in the dirt. He grounds to the right side. Bellhorn knocks it down. Can't make a play, and the Yankees lead again. Robert.
The great base stealer Maury Wills had once told Dave Roberts the day would come when he'd have to steal a base with everyone in the ballpark expecting it. When I got out there, Roberts said, I knew what Maury was talking about.
Dave Roberts knew that moment was coming, had studied Mariano Rivera, knew every single one of his moves to home plate.
Up the middle, Roberts will come to the plate. The throw by Williams. Bill Miller has tied
it. The game was tied, and it stayed that way into extra innings.
2-1. Ramirez will start it with a hit. And the Red Sox put their leadoff man on. Now it's David Ortiz.
Ortiz, so many times the hero for the Red Sox. The 2-1 pitch. Swing and a drive. Keeps it right. Way back. And this ball is gone. Jump on his back.
It was 1:23 a.m. The Red Sox were still alive. In Game 5, the Red Sox again came from behind to force extra innings.
That should tie it. Roberts will tag and go. The throw into second, and it's a 4-4 game.
With 2 outs in the bottom of the 14th and men on first and second, David Ortiz came to the plate.
Ortiz fights it off center field.
5 hours, 49 minutes, and 14 pitches into Game 5. Ortiz had done it again. It was his second walk-off hit in less than 24 hours. But Boston still had to win the next 2 games at Yankee Stadium.
A 2-2 now. Sierra strikes out, and that's the first strikeout of the night for Curt Schilling.
When Schilling came out in Game 6, we already knew that there was trouble with his ankle. One wasn't sure at all that he'd be able to pull this off.
Despite the pain, Schilling managed to quiet Yankee bats. With 2 outs in the 4th, Kevin Millar started a rally for Boston.
2 out, Millar hits it down the left field line. Into the corner, Matsui gives it a look. That's a fair ball, and Millar digging for second. The throw, too late. Varitek has put Boston on top. That's down the left field line. Big trouble. Matsui on the run, and it's a home run. 4-0 Boston.
Schilling lasted 7 innings and gave up just 1 run. The bullpen took over.
Runners go. Red Sox force Game 7. He rips one into right field.
Boston came out swinging.
Damon hits it in the air to right field. Sheffield back in the corner. A grand slam. Johnny Damon. Quiet all series, goes deep. 4 more. There's another one into right field. Johnny Damon is going off. Bellhorn hits it into right. It's fair, it's gone. This would be the 5th pennant for the Red Sox since that 1918 season. Here it is. Ground ball to second. Reese. The Boston Red Sox have won the pennant.
It was the greatest comeback in baseball history. The Red Sox would now have to face the formidable St. Louis Cardinals, who had twice before broken Boston hearts in the 1946 and 1967 World Series. Boston swept St. Louis. The Cardinals never led in any of the games.
Ground ball back to the mound. Falk with it. Got him at first base, and the Boston.
On August 4th, 2007, Bonds faced Clay Hensley, who had once been suspended for 15 games after testing positive for steroids.
There it is, number 755.
Barry Bonds has done it. He has tied Henry Aaron his 755th career home run.
On August 7th, a sellout crowd crammed into AT&T Park in San Francisco to see the Giants play the Washington Nationals. In the bottom of the fifth, with one out and nobody on, Bonds faced left-hander Mike Bassick.
And Bassick deals. And Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep. It is out of here. 756.
Although other players had used performance-enhancing drugs, Bonds had become the symbol of the steroids era. Barry Bonds finished 2007 with 762 career home runs. Although he remained one of the toughest outs in the game, San Francisco decided not to offer him a contract for 2008. Other teams stayed away too. He never played again.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Palmeiro. A ground ball past Jenks up the middle of the infield. Uribe has it. He throws. Out! Out! A White Sox winner and a World Championship. The White Sox have won the World Series.
Swing and a miss. The Cardinals are world champions for 2006, the 10th world championship in their illustrious history.
Game over, series over, and the Red Sox are world champs again.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 world champions of baseball.
In 2009, in the midst of the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, baseball gloried in one of the most exciting World Series in years, reminding the country and the world of the joyousness, the unpredictability, and the surpassing beauty of the game. The Yankees, having bolstered their old guard of homegrown talent with a new crop of lavishly paid free agents, faced the Philadelphia Phillies, the defending champions. The MVP of the series was Hideki Matsui, a former outfielder for the Yomiuri Giants, who led New York to their 27th championship.
And there's number 27. The Yankees have won it all again.
It just seems to be eternal. Now they say that forest fires are good for forests. Every year you think there's possibility in the ground. There's new trees there. We can be a forest one day. I don't know why that is in that sport. Maybe it's the number of games. Maybe it's the right number of players. More than in basketball, less than in football.
What a catch by